everyone, welcome to my new channel, Life and Times of Erica Clark, where I'll discuss mainly lifestyle topics, music, skincare, and a little bit about my small skincare company called The Dirty Goat. But today I thought we would discuss a very popular topic, which is weight loss. I lost about 85 pounds since January of last year. And I want to share how I did that, but before I do that, I want to make a very, very clear disclaimer. I have a very low impact lifestyle. I work from home. I don't really exercise that much other than walking my dog. I don't have young kids. I'm not running after kids all day. I'm not getting up in the morning and going to work. I pretty much stay in my house most of the day except for dog walks. So please keep that in mind when you're perhaps adjusting these tips to your lifestyle. You may need to take in more food and more calories than I did. So I just want to make that very clear. And the other thing I want to make very clear is what worked for me may not work for you. I kind of have to say that. You know, I tried many things before I figured out something that was going to work. There were a couple experts that I followed along the way, but for the most part, I just kind of did what was already working for me, and then I just took it to different levels. So if this doesn't work for you, I hope that you'll find something that does work for you. But if I'm able to offer something that revolutionizes how you are able to jumpstart your weight loss journey, then that's fantastic too. But please keep in mind my caloric budget, which is kind of what this is revolving around, is extremely low because I lead a semi-sedentary lifestyle. So keep that in mind. Please forgive me if I make a few glances down because I have a few notes here. I wanted to stay on track and not drag this on really long because sometimes I have a tendency to talk a lot. So if you have an interest in lifestyle tips, health, beauty, skincare, it'd be really awesome if you would subscribe. So with that, let's get started. I kind of had an epiphany. A lot of you may not know this, but I was a full-time wedding photographer before I started my small skincare company called The Dirty Goat. For about 7 years, I was a full-time wedding photographer. So I'm much more comfortable, keep that in mind when I'm awkward on this side of the camera. I'm much more comfortable, 100% more comfortable on the other side of the camera. The other side of the camera is where I'm at home. This side, not as much. So I'll be looking down to add a few notes that I've made just so we can stay on track. But so please keep that in mind. So this all started, I shot a wedding in Mexico in 2017 in January. And I had my own room at the resort, and after a few glasses of wine, I went to take a shower right before going to bed, and this was my epiphany. This was my moment. I remember the shower had all glass doors, and directly across the bathroom was an entire wall full of mirrors. And I just remember glancing over and catching a glimpse of myself and not recognizing who that was. That was the moment that I knew when I got back from Mexico, I needed to completely change the way I ate. I started with food. One of the people that I follow, Ray Cronice, and I'll link all these resources below. Ray Cronice, he said, I kept two quotes of his in mind, and let's see, they were phrases that I couldn't forget. And the first one was, you can't outrun the fork. So as important as exercise is to a healthy lifestyle, and it is, I'm not denying that exercise is important to a healthy lifestyle. What I'm saying is, in order to lose weight, the amount of food and the amount of food that you take in and what food you're taking in is everything. It has 100% to do with what you eat and how much you eat, more than it does to do with how much you exercise. So that was a quote that stuck out in my head, which was, again, you can't outrun the fork. So no matter how much you exercise, it all comes down to what you're putting into your body. That was first and foremost. The other one was, and almost as important, but I love food. I love junk food, and I love beer. I don't want to change who I am as a person. I want to still enjoy those things. I still want to eat Five Guys. I still want to eat French fries. I still want to drink my Modelo and my Blue Moon. But those things should be rare and appropriate. They shouldn't be all the time. They shouldn't, for me, they shouldn't be every other night or every weekend. Those things need to be rare and appropriate. So I eat the way that I eat, which is largely a plant-based diet, so that my boyfriend and I can go on vacation and go hog wild. We go ham. We eat everything we want to eat. But that's like once a month, once every 2 months. We will go out and enjoy ourselves. So again, rare and appropriate. So when I got back from Mexico, what I did was I downloaded a weight loss app, and again, I'll link that down below. I downloaded a weight loss app called Lose It. And what that app, it was very streamlined. I just needed something to log what I was eating, the amount of calories that I was consuming, and how much I weighed. So what I did was I set a caloric budget, and then I stuck to that budget and weighed myself each morning to see if that budget was allowing me to lose weight. What I did was I lowered that caloric budget until I saw progress, until I saw that I was losing about 3 pounds a week. So that caloric budget may be different for you. I believe I started, if memory serves, I started at 2,000 because I read the government suggestion is 2,500, I believe. So I thought, well, I'll go 25 lower, or I'll go 500 lower than that. And I started at 2,000, and I'm smiling because I was way off. And then I went down to 1,800, and then I went down to 1,000. My point is, it got down to the point where I learned that for my lifestyle and the way I wanted to live, in order to lose weight, eating one meal a day is what worked for me. I drank water throughout the entire day, drank water, coffee, or unsweet tea throughout the day, and then about 5 o'clock, 5:30 is when we would eat dinner. A sizable dinner, because feeling satiated, the feeling of feeling full is very important to me. That's something that I need to do to get me to the next meal, to feel like I'm not starving myself. So I would rather go without breakfast and lunch and have a meal where I feel like my stomach is full, not bursting, but full. I needed to skip the first 2 meals. So for me, I did what's called intermittent fasting, and I'll link a great Netflix documentary on intermittent fasting below if you're interested. So I basically did intermittent fasting without really following any rules or time frames that go with that. So I basically fasted throughout the day and then ate dinner and then a small snack at night, like tomatoes or cauliflower rice or something like that, and then would repeat that the next day. So I started new habits. So anytime that I felt like I had a little rumbling in my tummy where my stomach was telling me, oh hey, we'd like you to put food in it, not hunger, but oh, we would like to eat, I would drink water. I kind of retrained my brain, almost like a Pavlovian response, wherein anytime that I felt, anytime my brain was triggered, oh, I want to eat right now, I retrained my brain for the thought to be, oh, you need water. And so that's what I did. With the weight loss app, I would log how much food I ate, and it's got this great little convenient feature on it where you can scan the barcode of everything that you eat. So what I ate was, and this was key for me to lose weight, I didn't have rules about, cut and dry rules about what I could or what I couldn't eat, but there were certain things that I knew I had to completely cut out. I cut out sugar. So the government recommended amount of sugar that you're supposed to consume each day for women is about 25 grams of sugar. I cut that down to less than 10. So So the next habit that I formed, and this habit is very controversial, I get it. If the scale is going to be something that is scary to you, or it's going to discourage you, or you're going to obsess about it, then I definitely suggest throwing it out. For me, I needed the scale to be able to see if the steps that I was taking were actually going to produce weight loss. Otherwise, there was really no way for me to know. I didn't want to take the amount of time that it takes to see if your jeans fit smaller. Some people will say, well, you'll know when your clothes get smaller. I needed to do something drastic. At almost 220 pounds, and I'm only 5'1", I had to do something, and I had to do something quick. I couldn't wait around to see if my pants fit better in 2 weeks. So I used the scale. Every morning I would step on the scale, and that would give me a guide to see if what I was doing was working. If what I was doing wasn't working, I would readjust. Basically, I would consume less calories than I would burn. So a few tips. Other than when you're feeling snacky, other than grabbing some water, try hot tea. And the reason that I say hot tea is because the process of making the hot tea almost tricks the brain into thinking you're making a snack. Sometimes the act of just drinking the water isn't enough. We want to feel like we're preparing something. So that's why I opt for a cup of hot tea. The act of preparing the hot tea kind of gave me the feeling like I was preparing a snack. Is it the same thing? No. But what's really important is for you to remember that you're forming new habits, and this takes time. You have to be patient, and you have to be flexible. Another tip is to do your best to cut out dairy and as much animal fat as possible. So things like butter, mayonnaise, all of that kind of stuff, you're gonna have to cut out or greatly reduce it. So I still have small amounts of dairy, but an example of the dairy I have would be non-fat Greek yogurt for sour cream on top of vegan chili. So the main sources of meat that I consume are, I would say, about 3 times a week we have some sort of fish or lean meat like chicken or ground turkey. Other than that, I basically eat salad for dinner every night. I know that sounds drastic, but in order to suit my lifestyle, my semi-sedentary lifestyle, I have to consume a mainly plant-based diet. The reality is, and I know this isn't some magic pill. I'm hoping that no one came here looking for some magic answer, because I don't have one. The reality is, I personally feel like needing to eat 3 times a day is a social construct. I feel like we need to toss out the food pyramid. I feel like that's old school. The idea that we need to be eating 3 meals a day and then snacks in between all of those is just a complete social construct that is antiquated and arguably archaic. I think that for most people, you can get away with eating a small amount of breakfast if you're an active person, and then maybe a plant-based lunch and basically a plant-based dinner with some lean meat was really the only option I had. Another tip that worked great for me, a tip or tool that worked fantastic. This may not be available in your area, and I'm sorry if it isn't, but for those of you who live in a sizable city, I would look into online grocery shopping. This was paramount for me. I shop online at home from my couch on my iPad. And what this enabled me to do is to restrain myself from buying processed foods and junk food at the grocery store. If you want some screenshots or a few, if you want to be able to see what my grocery shopping list looks like, I'm sure if you want to reach out to me on Instagram, I'm on Instagram, Life and Times of Erica Clark. I can send you screenshots of what my grocery list looks like. And it doesn't change very much from week to week. It's basically vegetables, more vegetables, and some lean protein. So that's pretty much my biggest tip to you, other than using the weight loss app, paying attention to sugar content. Sugar is in everything, and it's the number one way you'll lose weight is to decrease the amount of sugar that you consume. Does that mean you can't have sugar ever? No. I still get Reese's peanut butter cups once a week in my grocery shopping list. That is what I need in order to make me feel like I'm not depriving myself. I still get treats, I still splurge, but it's rare and appropriate. So, bottom line. The bottom line is it going to be hard at first? For some of you, it's going to be harder than others. A lot of people ask me, was it hard? Are you proud of yourself? I wouldn't say that I'm proud of myself as much as I am kind of embarrassed that I let it get to that point. I feel like this is how I should be eating, and I don't see why that's something to take pride in, like treating my body the way that I should be treating it. And another tip I can give you is I kind of, when I got back, I kind of removed myself from my body. I thought of my body as a friend, and what I was doing to it is not how I would treat a friend. So that's something that I kind of kept in the back of my mind the whole time, is this how you would treat a friend? I kind of needed to separate my mind from my body in order to see how I was treating my body. So when people asked me if it was difficult, in my mind, there was no other option. So I feel like things only seem difficult when you're faced with options. And when I got back, I felt like this was it. And as a result, all of my panic attacks are gone. I had feet problems, they're gone. I had knee problems, they're gone. I had gut problems, they're gone. I had a multitude of health problems, and I'm not saying that all health problems are associated with being overweight. What I'm saying is my health problems were weight associated. So if the size that you are and the amount of food that you eat and what you eat works for you and your health, great. All I'm saying is it didn't work for me and it didn't work for my health. So something had to drastically change. If you'd like to learn more, I have a few resources that I didn't really find in the beginning. I found them kind of towards the end. But there's a really good book called The Case Against Sugar. If you're a reader, that's an option, and I'll make sure I link all of these down below. Another option is a documentary on Netflix called The Science of Fasting. It was fantastic. I'll link that below as well. And two people that I followed and I learned a lot from. One is Dr. Berg, B-E-R-G, and he's here on YouTube. Check him out. He uploads daily with lots of tips and, more important, explanations on why intermittent fasting works and what it does for the body. And finally, Ray Cronice. He was the guy that said you can't outrun the fork, and treating yourself and splurging should be rare and appropriate. I'll make sure I post all of those links below. Again, I hope that this helped a few people. Please keep in mind that this may not work for everyone, but it worked for me, and I feel like there are some things in my journey that could help other people perhaps lose weight and lead a healthier lifestyle. So with that, thank you for being here, and it would be super awesome if you would subscribe, and I would love to see you back. Thanks. Bye.